Dead soil doesn't come back to life with bottles, powders, or quick fixes. It comes back when biology is allowed to rebuild itself. If you've ever dealt with compacted ground, lifeless beds, poor yields, or soil that refuses to improve no matter how much compost you add, this guide is for you. Before we go any further, make sure you subscribe to Nature's Fix. This channel is built for gardeners who think long-term, who want resilient soil instead of seasonal results, and who understand that real fertility is grown, not bought. Today we're getting straight into value because the fastest way to revive dead soil is not adding chemicals, it's planting the right species and letting them do the work humans can't. Dead soil isn't empty, it's disconnected. Soil fails when its internal systems collapse. Compaction cuts off oxygen, missing roots starve microbes, nutrients exist but remain locked away. The plants we're covering today repair those failures by rebuilding structure, restoring nutrient cycling, and feeding soil organisms from the root zone outward. Each one plays a different role, and when used intentionally, they can turn exhausted ground into productive soil within a single season. Buckwheat restores activity fast when soil needs a quick reset. Buckwheat is one of the fastest biological tools available to gardeners. It germinates in 3 to 5 days and flowers in about 30. Its shallow but fibrous roots loosen topsoil, while its dense canopy blocks sunlight and suppresses weeds. Buckwheat excels at unlocking phosphorus, which is, honestly, one of the most common limiting nutrients in dead soil. To use it effectively, you'll want to sow seed thickly at roughly 1 pound per 500 square feet, let it flower, then cut it down before it sets seed. Leave the residue right on the surface, or you can lightly incorporate it. Within just a few weeks, soil texture improves and microbial activity rebounds. Lupines rebuild nitrogen in poor or acidic soils. Lupines are nitrogen fixers with deep taproots, making them ideal for sandy, acidic, or neglected ground. Their roots host bacteria that pull nitrogen from the air and store it in the soil. This nitrogen becomes available to future crops once the plant is cut back or decomposes. Lupines should be planted at moderate spacing, around 12 inches apart, and allowed to reach flowering before termination. They work best when left in place rather than tilled deeply, allowing roots to decay naturally and create channels for air and water. Clover repairs surface structure and feeds soil continuously. Clover works quietly but relentlessly. Its shallow roots improve aggregation, while its dense growth protects soil from erosion and temperature extremes. White and red clover both fix nitrogen and release it gradually as roots slough off. For garden beds, overseed clover at roughly 1 ounce per 300 square feet. Mow or cut it periodically and leave the cuttings in place. Over time, soil becomes darker, softer, and more moisture retentive without a single input added. Alfalfa breaks compaction deeper than most plants can reach. Alfalfa's roots regularly extend 10 feet or more, making it unmatched for breaking deep compaction. It pulls minerals upward, improves drainage, and fixes nitrogen simultaneously. Alfalfa is best used in areas that can be rested for a season. Sow at about 1 pound per 1,000 square feet and allow it to grow uninterrupted for several months. When terminated, leave roots intact and cut growth at soil level. Crops planted afterward often require little supplemental nitrogen. Comfrey mines nutrients and returns them to the surface. Comfrey is a dynamic accumulator with roots that reach minerals most plants never touch. Potassium, calcium, and trace elements are pulled upward and stored in its leaves. Those leaves can be chopped and dropped as mulch or added to compost. One mature comfrey plant can be cut 3 to 4 times per season. A handful of chopped leaves spread around fruit trees or heavy feeders delivers slow-release nutrition while improving soil structure. Daikon radish drills channels through hard ground. Daikon radish is, honestly, nature's subsoiler. Its thick taproot penetrates compacted soil, clay layers, and hardpan, and as it decomposes it leaves behind these vertical channels that really improve drainage and root penetration. Sow daikon at roughly 1 ounce per 100 square feet in late summer or early fall. Let frost kill it naturally, or just cut it back and leave the roots to rot in place. The soil left behind is, noticeably looser and easier to work. Sunflowers, well, they lift nutrients and stabilize damaged soil. Hairy vetch rebuilds fertility while protecting bare ground. Mustard cleans soil and breaks pest cycles. Chicory anchors soil and improves mineral availability. Space sunflowers 12 to 18 inches apart and allow them to reach full maturity. After harvest, chop the stalks and leave the roots intact. Their decomposing biomass feeds soil microbes and adds organic matter quickly. Sow hairy vetch at 1 pound per 1,000 square feet and let it grow until flowering for maximum nitrogen contribution. Mustard is best cut before flowering and lightly incorporated into moist soil. Allow 2 to 3 weeks before planting sensitive crops. Space chicory plants 12 inches apart and let the roots remain after cutting the growth. Over time, the soil becomes more friable and biologically active. Dead soil recovers when roots do the work. These plants don't just cover soil, they repair it. Each one reconnects broken systems underground and restores fertility naturally. Choose 2 or 3 that match your soil's biggest weaknesses and rotate them intentionally. If this guide helped you rethink how soil recovery actually works, subscribe to Nature's Fix for more biology-driven gardening strategies. Share this video with anyone struggling with tired soil and, keep building ground that gets better every season.